The Garden of Gethsemane. After Jesus had shared his Last Supper with the disciples, he sat back and looked around at his dear friends. "I give you a new commandment," he said. "Love each other as I have loved you. By doing this, everyone will know that you are my followers." "Lord, you've been talking all night as if you're leaving us," Peter protested. "Yes," Jesus said gently. "I am going away, and where I am going you won't be able to follow me, for a while at least." "Why can't I follow you now?" Peter cried out. "I am ready to die for you." But Jesus smiled sadly. "Are you really, my friend?" he asked. "By the time this night is out and the cock has crowed 3 times at dawn, you will have denied 3 times that you even know me." "Never," Peter said, choking with sorrow. "Never." And all the disciples agreed strongly. "Don't be upset," Jesus tried to comfort them. "I am going to prepare a place for you in my Father's house, and I will return for you for a short while before I have to go away again for good. Even then, when you will no longer be able to see me, I will always live in your hearts. Later, when the time is right, you will follow and we will be together again. Until then, do what I have done tonight as a way of remembering me. Be at peace, and be happy for me that I am going to be with my Father." Jesus looked around at his friends' gloomy faces. "Now come," he said gently. "Let's go to the Mount of Olives. I would like to pray in the Garden of Gethsemane for a while." As they walked through the moonlight together, Jesus gave the disciples many more important instructions. He knew he only had a short time left in which to talk to them. When they finally reached the entrance to the Garden of Gethsemane, Jesus saw that the anxious men were exhausted. "Rest here while I go and pray," he told most of them. But he turned to Peter, James, and John and said, "I know you are tired, but would you come with me?" The 3 were only too pleased to keep Jesus company. They had never seen him look so strained and troubled before. "My heart feels like it's breaking," Jesus sighed heavily when they had gone a little way. "Will you stay while I pray?" Peter, James, and John watched as Jesus sank to his knees, his head in his hands. "Father," he cried silently. Jesus prayed that perhaps he might not have to face the suffering he knew lay ahead. After a long while, Jesus turned to Peter, James, and John, but saw they had fallen asleep. So Jesus prayed again. He felt the sins of all the world weighing on his shoulders, and he knew the full horror of what was to come. Once more, Jesus turned to his friends, but they were still asleep. And Jesus prayed again, willingly accepting the suffering he had to face, so that all people could one day reach God. At last, Jesus finished praying. Peter, James, and John were still asleep, but at that moment, Judas Iscariot arrived, accompanied by a band of guards. At the noise of guards' swords and chains and the light from their flaming torches, the disciples woke up, startled. "Master," Judas said calmly, greeting Jesus with his usual kiss. At that prearranged sign, the guards grabbed Jesus. After a brief commotion and panic, the disciples fled for their lives into the darkness.